And there's a brother named D.L. Hughley.
Yep.
And until he take accountability, I won't let it go.
What?
Because
Gil, I mean, I remember walking out and CJ, the producer of the show, he's like, Shannon, this is going to blow up the internet.
Sharpe says he's temporarily stepping away from ESPN in the wake of a $50 million lawsuit accusing him of rape. A woman filed suit against Sharpe on Sunday, accusing him of raping her.
And there's a brother named D.L. Hughley. Yeah. And until he take accountability, I won't let it go. What? Because Gail, I remember walking out and CJ, the other producer of the show, he's like, Shannon, this is going to blow up the internet. Let's break this thing down because it's getting messier than a tabloid editor's desk on a Friday night. Shannon Sharpe, the NFL legend turned sports media powerhouse, is neck-deep in a scandal that's as tangled and explosive as a daytime soap opera. And trust me, there's no commercial break in sight. From lawsuits and leaked audio to industry whispers and celebrity feuds, Shannon's world is unraveling and everyone's grabbing their popcorn. But here's the kicker. The more you dig, the dirtier it gets. So buckle up because we're diving head first into the chaos. Shannon Sharpe says he's temporarily stepping away from ESPN in the wake of a $50 million lawsuit accusing him of rape. A woman filed suit against Sharpe on Sunday, accusing him of her twice. First, let's address the elephant in the room, Shannon's ongoing legal drama with a young woman who claims their relationship turned toxic and, well, let's just say extremely volatile. The accusations are severe, but what's turning heads even more is the sheer scale of the fallout. Tannen's multi-million-dollar podcast empire, his lucrative ESPN gig, and his hard-earned Hall of Fame reputation are all dangling by a thread. And that's not even the half of it. The leaked audio of Shannon allegedly making threatening remarks. It's like pouring gasoline on an already raging fire. If you say that one more time, I'm going to choke the out of you. That's the line making the rounds. And whether it's taken out of context or not, it's a publicist's nightmare. But here's the thing. This isn't Shannon's first brush with controversy. Oh no. This is just the latest chapter in a long, messy saga. Right? See, when we say family is sacred, right? Family is sacred. And we know that you don't cross the line when it comes to family. Correct, right? Let's rewind a bit, shall we? Shannon's track record with women has always raised eyebrows. Remember the time he openly admitted on his show to paying for a married woman's divorce because he just knew she was the one? Or that infamous Instagram live mishap that left his followers listening in on what can only be described as a very private moment? These aren't isolated incidents. They're part of a pattern. One that paints a troubling picture of a man who, despite his charm and charisma, seems to court controversy like it's a second career. And let's not forget the whispers about his previous legal entanglements. A production assistant at FS1 accused him of inappropriate behavior. And while that case was quietly settled out of court, the details are murky at best. Settlements don't scream innocence. They scream, let's make this go away. But wait, it gets juicier. Enter Monique, the queen of comedy and unfiltered truth bombs. If there's one thing Monique doesn't do, it's hold back. And she's been on Shannon's case like a dog with a bone. During her stand-up routine, she tore into him with a ferocity that had the audience howling and Shannon fuming. She didn't just roast him, she eviscerated him, calling out his penchant for younger women and warning him about the pitfalls of his lifestyle. You don't need number 26-year-old, she said. Get you an older gal. He'll make you some turkey wings and rub your feet. The crowd loved it, but Shannon, not so much. Sources close to him say he felt betrayed, especially since Monique had previously warned him to clean up his act during an appearance on his own show. He laughed it off back then, but he's not laughing now. When we know something is wrong, everything Cat Williams sat here and said, right, we all know it to be the truth. And then there's Cat Williams, the comedian who seems to have a sixth sense for sniffing out scandals before they explode. Cat's appearance on Shannon's podcast earlier this year was nothing short of incendiary. He didn't just throw shade, he hurled entire trees, calling out everyone from Kevin Hart to Steve Harvey. But the real bombshell, Cat's cryptic remarks about the darker side of Hollywood and the compromises some celebrities are willing to make. Because you know some folks be wanting to party, Cat quipped, leaving just enough unsaid to let your imagination run wild. And wouldn't you know it, months later, unrelated but eerily timed allegations against other high-profile figures started surfacing, making Cat look less like a conspiracy theorist and more like a prophet? Was he hinting at something bigger? Maybe. Or maybe he just knows how to stir the pot. Either way, his comments added fuel to an already blazing fire. Thanks for everything I'm telling you. That's why I can say I'm so can I need another one? You here. Get you another, sir. Thank you. Come on. But perhaps the most unsettling revelation comes from whispers about Shannon's private life that are beginning to leak into public view. Those who've worked with him behind the scenes describe a man who struggles to separate his public persona from his personal relationships. One former colleague claimed that Shannon's relentless drive to maintain his image left little room for genuine connections, resulting in a pattern of superficial relationships that inevitably soured. He's always on, the source said. It's like he doesn't know how to turn it off. This relentless need to perform, even in his private life, might explain why so many of his past relationships seem to end in chaos. Plan, I said, tell me the joke in that. Because I don't know what you're insinuating. Then you're involving people that have nothing to do with nothing. Now, here's where it gets really interesting. Shannon's legal troubles aren't just a personal crisis. They're a professional catastrophe. He was reportedly on the verge of signing a podcast deal worth over 100 million currency units, a career-defining milestone that would have cemented his status as a media mogul. But with the lawsuit hanging over his head, that deal is now in jeopardy. Sponsors are pulling back. Networks are distancing themselves. And even his co-hosts are treading lightly. Stephen A. Smith, his colleague on First Take, publicly expressed support for Shannon but also acknowledged the uncomfortable reality of the situation. Disney doesn't want this kind of heat, Smith said, referring to ESPN's parent company. And he's right. In the court of public opinion, perception is everything. And right now, Shannon's brand is as toxic as they come. Now, it got so ugly that my attorney had to send a cease and desist, so it never aired. But let's not forget the role of race and power dynamics in this whole mess. Shannon's preference for dating younger non-black women has been a point of contention for years, especially among his critics within the black community. Dr. Umar Johnson didn't hold back, calling out the racial undertones of Shannon's alleged relationship and questioning his judgment. Why would a man of his stature get involved with someone who refused to sign an NDA? Uber asked. It's a valid question, one that speaks to a broader issue of accountability and self-awareness. Shannon's defenders argue that he's being unfairly targeted, but his detractors see this as a long overdue reckoning. Either way, the optics are terrible and Shannon's silence isn't helping. Through the years, I've watched DL speak ill of me. Through the years, I never knew DL Higley had a problem with me. And then there's the financial angle. Let's talk about that 100 million deal again. Even if Shannon somehow wins the lawsuit, the damage to his reputation could be irreversible. Companies don't just care about legal outcomes. They care about public perception. And right now, Shannon's name is trending for all the wrong reasons. The leaked texts, the audio clips, the resurfaced accusations from his past. It's a perfect storm of scandal that's threatening to sink his career. But here's the thing, Shannon isn't just fighting a legal battle. He's fighting for his legacy. This is a man who climbed to the top of the sports world only to risk it all for reasons that remain frustratingly unclear. Is it arrogance, poor judgment, a toxic mix of both? Whatever the answer, one thing's for sure. Shannon Sharpe's story is far from over. And as the walls close in, the question isn't just whether he'll survive this scandal. It's how much more there is to uncover. Because if history has taught us anything, it's that in Hollywood, the truth is always stranger, darker, and more twisted than we ever imagined. Because we know how this business works. So when you allow that to happen, what do you think is going to come back your way? And yet, as the storm around Shannon Sharpe grows darker, the deeper layers of his tangled web begin to reveal themselves. Because this isn't just a story about one man's fall from grace. It's a case study in how power, ego, and unchecked hubris can create a ripple effect that pulls everyone around you into the undertow. Shannon's troubles aren't isolated. They're the result of choices, patterns, and an undeniable arrogance that seems to have blinded him to the consequences. And the more you look at the cracks in his image, the more you realize those cracks are actually fissures running deep into the foundation of his life and career. What do you think? And D.O. Higley, please. No, brother. We still love you. Just take accountability for it and we move forward. Let's talk about the people in Shannon's orbit. The ones who've stayed quiet, the ones who've distanced themselves, and the ones who've outright turned on him. Because when someone is at the height of their power, their circle tends to expand. Friends, business partners, colleagues. Everyone wants a piece of the shine. But when that power,